guys, welcome back. Ray from Tails&Snails. It's been a while since we've done a fish room update, so we're going to do an update, give you guys again update on fish room here, what's going on, update on the business and what's working, what's not. So thanks for tuning in, and let's take a tour. Alright, first stop on the tour, our 20-gallon is a 20-gallon long. You can see a lot going on in this tank. I've got our little blue pearl shrimp. So there's hundreds and hundreds of them in this tank. Because they are kind of a transparent in nature, sometimes it's you can have them kind of hiding in plain sight right in front of you, and sometimes it's difficult to see. So as I pan slowly here, there's the ones you see, and then there's the ones you do not see. And then obviously they love hanging out inside the guppy grass. So we've been growing this out. So we've got this on the store site. Love this stuff. So this stuff is great for breeding shrimp and obviously for breeding small fish. The idea is that you grow it very thick like this, and the shrimp, the fish, they can hide inside the grass here, and giving them shelter from the larger fish to eat them. So it's kind of like building out your own little natural ecosystem where you can have refuge for the fish fry and the baby shrimp without actually getting them eaten up. So we also have a number of blue mystery snails in here. So great symbiotic relationship between the snails and the shrimp. This is a tank by which I never, ever vacuum. As is. Obviously you look at it and you say, how on earth would you get a gravel vac in there? But they do a great job between the shrimp and the snails. The bottom's clean, no muck. Waste not, want not. And I've always wanted to do a tank like this. Obviously, this is for the store, but it doesn't have to be, ugly just because we're selling plants and snails and shrimp out of it. All right, coming over. So again, the next 20-gallon long. So similar setup here. So we've got some moss. There is one little crypt in there, and then the rest is guppy grass. And I take that back. Here's another crypt in the corner. And in this tank, we've got little really shrimp. So there's the ones that are the red and white stripe. And again, there's so many places for them to hide. You're like, where are they? There's probably a good 50 or so in here. These guys, for whatever reason, do not breed like the other shrimp over here in the first tank. So that's our second tank, again 20-gallon long. As you guys can see, still using the sponge filters. Again, they work out fantastic. And I will say the shrimp seem, what's interesting is the shrimp clean everything so well. I don't really have to squeeze out these sponge filters as often as I do in tanks where I have just fish and snails. So These guys really do a good job cleaning. And you do see some duckweed on the top, so I've got some duckweed going there. Again, that's that first tank. And then these LED lights that we're using, so this is one light that I've got straddled over both tanks. So this would be like one of the larger strips that you have, and this lighting is, and I think I talked about it in prior videos, it goes from morning, to noon, to afternoon, to night. So it changes the light spectrum and intensity to simulate the sun. So really cool. So I don't have to, as far as these lights are concerned, I don't have to turn lights on and off, and I also don't have to worry about, hey, it was on max and how many hours, and now I'm going to have huge algae bloom as a result. So highly recommend those, these kinds of lights. Alright guys, dropping down. So this here is we got our blue deltas in here. We're not really doing too well on the breeding of the blue deltas. There's just a couple. But it's okay. We've been really busy with snails. So as you can see, tons of adult ivories. So when they're busy eating food, they're busy laying eggs, they're busy doing snail stuff. And you can see on the bottom recent hatch of ivories. So I think in the last video that I did, we were talking about getting up to speed on breeding the ivories. So since then, obviously we've bred them, and they're now available on the store as well. And some of these guys are just huge. Here's my hand. Pretty good size. Really good size. Like I said, these guys get to be golf ball size, some a little larger than others. Now these guys do make a hot mess of this tank, so I gotta be very diligent about water changes. I'd like to get some shrimp in there, but and perhaps put these guppies somewhere else, so I could do a little less maintenance on the sponges. With this many snails in the tank, the sponge filter gets kind of clogged, and whenever you see this, just kind of give you guys a maintenance heads up. So if you're using these filters and you see where the water flow here is kind of like down to it's kind of trickling, gurgling out. So the way this works, the bubbles go up, it sucks the water in through the sponges, and as they get clogged with debris, that comes down to a trickle, which you don't want that. You want a nice flow. You want a nice steady flow of water coming out, right? So your bacteria lives in that sponge, and as that water passes through, that's what helps your it's your nitrogen cycle is dependent on the water flowing through those sponges. So these guys I have to take out and squeeze out every couple days, but that's cost of success. We wanted to get up and breeding with the ivories, and so we're up and breeding with the ivories. Okay, coming down, next stop. Alright, so this bottom tank here, sorry, the last one, that was a 20-gallon tall. This tank is also 20-gallon tall, and this tank is what I like to call the nursery. So the baby snails are in this tank, and we keep them separate so they don't have to compete with food or calcium, minerals with the adults. And if once the snail gets too big, if for example we don't sell it, it's going to be moved to another tank if it gets too big. In this tank, so we have a lot of, you got to really kind of zoom in. So there's lots of baby purples. So we've got also have the blue rose shrimp, which we don't have listed on the website yet, but these guys are really pretty blue. In fact, I think I like them better than the Blue Dreams relative to their color. So they're in there with the baby snails, making sure the tank is clean as they get bigger. So they're all over the place. And you guys see right now we've got a lot of baby ivories, we've got a lot of baby purples. So you know, as they hatch, as they grow, right now we're stocking, I'd say, per given week. You know, you can't list them when they're too small. You don't want to, they don't do well in transit when they're too big. So there's kind of a window there relative to getting them out big enough, safe enough to make the travel. So, so this is the what I like to call the nursery. You can see these guys are really pretty. They're going to turn into some very pretty adults as well. The ivories and the purples. And there's a blue, there's occasional blue snail. It's a baby blue. And then up in the corner, I tried to separate them. I guess there's another one. Can I zoom? The camera didn't like that. That is one of our Blackfoot purples, which we're coming up to speed. I love how these guys hang out on this shrimp. Just, hey, I'm gonna hang out on you. Alright, coming up. Alright, so this is our 10-gallon tall. We've got a reflection. Apologies for the reflection. There's some Bacopa in there and our Moscow Reds. And you can see this tank has a lot of snails that we didn't plan for. For whatever reason, they seem to thrive on the Bacopa. So these are the not the Malaysians. The words eluding me. So they kind of blew up in population, and I thought, I was spending every day picking them out, and I'm like, all right, enough is enough. So I started throwing assassin snails in there, and the assassin snails couldn't be happier cleaning up the bottom of this. I know it's got a terrible reflection. Alright, dropping down. It's another plant tank, and I want to talk about the plant side of the business. Maybe get some feedback in some of the comments, kind of get some thoughts on what you guys think. So the plants we have not done so well with, and so we've made some investments in marketing, investments in the product, and for whatever reason, just not too popular. People don't, people not asking for them. Now we are still, an authorized reseller of Tropica. And if there's a large order or something that you guys want, we can kind of, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to, fill in a big custom order for you guys, and obviously get it to you. But as far as the high demand for plants, it's just not, just haven't materialized. We haven't seen it. So. There are plants that we are going to grow and sell. I love this little caramel. You'll probably be going to a new home this week.
Take North Charlie.
Alright, moving on. Alright, so another plant tank. So really this is kind of plant slash water tank. And when I say water tank, I don't change the water for any of the shrimp tanks straight out of the spigot. I let the water sit. I let all the chlorine evaporate. I carbon filter, like in this tank here. If I'm for the, I've got a tank that's strictly for doing water changes for the shrimp tank. The shrimp are sensitive to chlorine. I just don't want to take any chances. So I do my water changes. I siphon from up here to down here and to down here, and then siphon around. So that's what these guys are. I did throw some plants in there. There are some snails in there. There's a couple mystery snails hiding out. They're mainly in there just to housekeep, to keep the plants clean. Plants were starting to get a thick coating of algae, and it just kind of got away from me, and I was like, huh, look at that. Threw 3 adult mystery snails in there, and voila, it's looking much better. Alright, dropping down. So this tank here is, so we had inquiries around the Blackfoot purples. We had a hard time finding these things, and the ones we did find took a while to get here, and so we had a, obviously you get a couple, you're not sure, are these males, females, what's going to happen. So we had one hatch, and this is from that hatch, so we're kind of growing out that first hatch, getting these guys bigger. We've got 2 adults left from the original purchase, or the original find, and then the rest of these guys are, I guess you would say they're adolescents at this point. Still pretty small, but they're, let's see, you want to go for a walk? Yes, they're getting a little bigger. These guys are, I'd say, 6 weeks, maybe a little older. And so we're working our way so that these guys can start laying eggs, and then we can obviously provide a steady stream of snails to the customers. In this tank, we also got some Blue Dream shrimp in there. So again, this has kind of worked out very well. In fact, all the other tanks that have fish in them, I might be converting to fish shrimp because it just goes, it really does. It lowers the maintenance. These guys, I can't wait. They're so beautiful.
I think we're getting lazed. Probably lazy from that.
Snails doing snail things. And then at the top, so this is hornwort. Now hornwort is what you would call a column feeder. These plants are fantastic at sucking up nitrates. So as tanks get loaded, again, your filter is a filter, but your filter is going to turn what? It's going to turn that poop, the fish poop, their pee. It's going to convert that. Basically, at the end of that nitrogen cycle, you're going to have what? Nitrates. And these guys are really good at sucking that up. So it's like having an extra filter inside your aquarium. Inside, I think it looks cool. Shrimp like it, snails like it. And again, duckweed, which is also really good. Really good at sucking up the nitrates in the water. So a combination of that, and you got yourself. It's kind of like supercharging your filter, if you will. Doesn't mean you're going to get out of doing water changes, but it may increase that interval. So say you're doing it every week. Now obviously you guys aren't going to have breeder tanks where they're heavily loaded and have a heavy bioload, but let's say you test your water, all of a sudden you load up with plants, and maybe you're getting instead of doing once a week based on your water tests, maybe you get once every 2 weeks. Okay, dropping down. So this is our Blue Dream tank. So these guys are a little bit of algae film. So I need to throw some more mystery snails in this tank. There is one in here, but I don't know where he went. And we've got a couple of assassin snails in there. My strategy for this is to avoid ammonia spikes. So shrimp live, shrimp die. I don't want to be in here cleaning up, trying to find bodies to avoid ammonia spikes. So these guys, nice little bonus. They'll, obviously they're scavengers and they prefer meat. Someone mentioned, oh, they could eat your shrimp. Well, yeah, they could, but only the really, really slow. You see how fast these shrimp are if you try to catch them in a net. The snails move like snails. So these guys are out there. Like I said, if I zoom in on the wall, you can see there's hundreds of the little guys. I don't know if you guys can see those little dots. Those are all baby blue dreams. Fun little tank. I should have cleaned the front of the glass a little bit before I shot the video, but ton of them on the bottom there. All right, moving up. So it's our cherry shrimp tank. So this was the tank that we did a while back. We actually did the aquascape video on. So it's the same plants that are in there. You can see now, since we shot this video, these guys are pretty much near the ceiling. Great hangout spot for these cherry shrimp. And they're just chilling. Now, if you guys are buying these, keep in mind they're small, right? So here's my finger, here's the shrimp. You can see these will fit easily in many fishes' mouths. So if you want to be successful, you can keep them, but if you'd like to build your own little colony, you've got to. There's different ways you can go about that. Now, if you have a large enough tank, you can leverage the moss. So the moss and guppy grass combo. will give you guys kind of that, at least give them a fighting chance if they're going to breed and multiply. You know, the fish are still going to pick them off, right? So you saw how small these guys are, and the babies are even smaller. So, and there's really no fish, not even a little neon tetra, not even little baby guppies. They can just about any fish can eat these shrimp fry. Now, what do they have going for them? Well, they've got numbers, right? So each each shrimp, if each shrimp has 25 fry, well, you can see, right? They breed in the numbers that obviously they are, I guess, food, if you will, right? So successive numbers. Again, another sponge filter going here, and again, I can't remember the last time I had to squeeze this thing out. These shrimp keep the thing so clean. Water's flowing. Got an ivory up here. So there's 2 or 3 mystery snails in this tank. No breeding going on in here. They're just there. They're just there to be there. No strategy in that. Yep, there's the other guy up in the corner, and I thought there was one more. Okay. Alright, dropping down. So this is our adult purples. You can see I just put our thermometer, suction cup thermometer, it falling down. So big purples. So again, these guys are humongo. In fact, that one that just dropped, let me see if I can grab that. See, like, guys, see how big these. She's heavy. See if I can get her to take a walk on my hand. Nope. Down you go. So again, these are our adult purples. Again, this tank is high maintenance tank, obviously with the adults in there. A lot of water changes, a lot of cleanings. We do have some guppies in there. In fact, these guys, I wasn't even paying attention when they started breeding, and I can't remember the name, but they are very pretty. These are the ones that move so quick I can never get them. Can never get them on camera, at least as far as taking photos. Turn you over. Sorry, I felt bad. I let this snail get sitting on his back, put him back on his front. Now my hand's wet. Okay. All right, and then there's the trough. So right now, a lot of guppies in here. A lot of plants. Again, not sure what we're going to do with this one long term. I love the guppies, so obviously they're still in here. We've got caramel and yellow mystery snails, or gold, as you would call them, in here as well. I can find one. So again, that's one of the golds. Really pretty. Probably the more common one. Whenever I see mystery snails at a big box or a pet store, it seems like they're always the golds, which they are pretty. Whoop. So my guppies are being a little shy today. Let's see. You guys want to come up? Sit in my hand. Ah, there you guys go. Come up and sit in my hand. If I didn't have a camera on them, they would all be there. Oh. They have no fear whatsoever. If I were to go upstairs and stick my hand in the tank with the angels, they would all cower in the corner. Unless, of course, if they were tending eggs, then they would bite my hand. But these guys, you could tell, there's no, they've never been with any predators. They just swim up and say hello. Again, so we'd originally purposed this for the plants. The plants really haven't sold all that well, so we still have the plants in here. Now, interestingly enough, they were very little, and now some of these plants are just simply monstrous. So, who knows? Maybe do an aquascape. I just think we just whether or not people really into plants as much as I'm into plants, just because you get an idea and say, oh my gosh, it's beautiful, I want to do an aquascape, and it's really big in Europe, but and it might be big in the US, but for whatever reason, maybe at some point we'll find some success in that. But obviously we're a small, very small business, small startup, so if it doesn't sell, we can get it for you, but as you can see, I've got a limited space, so I'm not gonna stock up. I'm always going to use plants in my setups because it's obviously filtration, and then some of this other stuff does actually sell pretty well. The guppy grass sells well. People buy moss, so it's just the type of plants, and I just think aquascaping is probably a little bit further along in Europe than it is in the United States. And then let's just take here. It's the pennywort tank. You can see this pennywort's just going nuts, growing up and over. These started out as 2 or 3 little stems, and now they were just growing crazy down the side of the tank. So if you're looking for a plant that can grow up and out of your tank, check out pennywort. And I'd also like to hear from you guys if you're interested in buying something like this. We can obviously list this on the site. I don't even know. I'd have to see what it even goes for. When we first got this pennywort, look at how big these leaves are. The leaves were very small. In fact, I don't even see any leaves. There may be dime-sized leaves, and maybe there's just a couple of them. In fact, we had them in that 10-gallon tall, and they were just the smallest of small plants. And once this thing got going, so this plant's probably 3 years old now, and obviously it's been clipped and moved around from tank to tank, but if you have a tank that you'd like to, it does cover everything, so you have to definitely manage it once it gets going. But so that's our the pennywort tank, and that's pretty much it. So again, we're keeping our focus on snails and shrimp. We do really good at both. So hoping we thank you guys for your business. We appreciate hearing the feedback and seeing the pictures that you guys have sent us. So like I said, we've slowly but surely we're turning this from very slow going to startup to kind of steady stream, and again, you guys have made that possible. Alright, till next time. We'll see you guys later. Peace. Bye.